Apple just delayed its first foldable iPhone. And honestly, that might be the biggest clue that something very different is coming. Because this isn't just another foldable phone. Apple might be trying to fix the one problem that companies like the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 and even the upcoming Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 still haven't fully solved. And if that's true, this could completely change how people see foldables. But before we get into that, here's what makes this situation even more interesting. The launch. Because according to recent reports, Apple might announce the foldable iPhone in September, but not actually release it until December. Now that might sound like a delay, but Apple has done this before. With the iPhone X, they followed the exact same strategy. Announced it first, then released it later. And back then, it wasn't random. It was because Apple was working on something completely new, and they needed more time to get it right. So if they're repeating that same strategy now, it probably means one thing. This phone isn't ready to be rushed. And there's a very specific reason why. Because foldable phones still have a problem that no one has fully solved. The crease. You've seen it. That visible line running through the middle of the display. Sometimes you can ignore it, but once you notice it, it's always there. And this is exactly where Apple took a different approach. Instead of releasing a foldable early, they waited years, watching what Samsung and others were doing, watching what worked and what didn't. And now, according to multiple leaks, they might finally be ready to fix it. Reports suggest the foldable iPhone could have a crease that's nearly invisible during normal use. Not completely gone, but far less noticeable than anything we've seen so far. And the way Apple might be doing this is where things get really interesting, because it's not just about the display, it's about the hinge. Some reports suggest Apple is working on a hinge that uses liquid metal alloy. This isn't just marketing. The idea here is to reduce stress on the display when the phone folds and unfolds, while delivering better overall durability. Less stress plus new display materials equals a much flatter, subtler crease. But here's the thing. Even if Apple fixes the crease, that alone won't be enough. Because there's another problem most foldables still have, the way they feel to use. And this is where Apple might be making their biggest change. Instead of copying Samsung's design, they might be doing the opposite. Most foldables today open into a tall, narrow screen, which sound good on paper, but in real use, it can feel awkward. Apps don't always fit properly. Videos get black bars, and sometimes it just feels like a stretched phone. Apple's solution? Go wider. Leaks suggest the foldable iPhone could open into a 7.8-inch display with a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is much closer to an iPad, and that changes everything. Watching videos feels more natural. Reading becomes easier. Multitasking actually makes sense. It doesn't feel like a phone trying to be a tablet. It feels like a tablet that fits in your pocket, and that's a big difference. Now on the outside, the phone could have a smaller 5.5-inch display. Just enough for quick things, checking notifications, replying to messages, or making calls. But the real experience begins when you unfold it, and somehow, Apple might still keep this device incredibly thin. Leaks suggest around 4.5 millimeters when unfolded, and 9 to 9.5 millimeters when folded, which is actually impressive for a first-generation foldable. But here's another unexpected move. Apple might remove Face ID entirely. Instead, they could bring back Touch ID, built into the power button. And at first, that might sound like a downgrade, but it actually makes sense, because with a foldable phone, you're constantly changing how you hold it. Face ID could become inconsistent, but Touch ID, it works no matter what. Folded, unfolded, sideways. It just works. Now inside, the phone is expected to run Apple's next generation A20 Pro chip, focused heavily on performance and efficiency. And that's important, because foldables are basically running two displays at once, which brings us to battery life. This could be one of Apple's biggest advantages. Rumors suggest a battery around 5,500 milliamp hours, or even the 5,400 to 5,800 milliamp hours range, which would make it the largest battery ever in an iPhone. And if Apple combines that with their usual efficiency, this phone could actually last longer than most foldables we have today. But Apple isn't the only one improving. Samsung still has some strong advantages. Years of experience, more advanced multitasking features, and likely better zoom cameras. So this isn't a one-sided fight. This is competition at its peak. And that's what makes this so interesting. But now we need to talk about something that could change everything. The price. Because none of this matters if people can't afford it. Leaks suggest the foldable iPhone could start around $2,000 or even more, up to $2,500 in some estimates, which instantly makes it one of the most expensive iPhones ever. So this isn't for everyone. This is for early adopters, tech enthusiasts. And if demand is high, that delayed December release could make things even worse. Because if it sells out quickly, some people might have to wait until next year just to get one. And that brings us back to the original question. Is this delay a bad thing? Or is Apple doing this on purpose to make sure their first foldable doesn't feel like a first attempt? This might not just be another foldable phone. This could be the moment foldables finally go mainstream. So now the real question is, did Apple wait too long? Or did they wait just long enough to do it better than everyone else?